Do you know this place? Ryan asked curiously. This is our room. Rain looked confused. How long did you rent it for? I don't know. A couple of days? Come on. If he's up there, we need to stop him. Whoa, hey, wait a minute. Running into the hotel, Sam looked unhinged. What's wrong? There are people here. He stood beside the elevator as Ryan smacked the button. You're seriously suggesting we fight that thing in a hotel? Does the word zombie apocalypse mean anything to you? How many more lives are you going to put at risk here? Lives have already been lost. Yeah, well, that doesn't justify losing more of them. The place has probably been evacuated, Rain reasoned. I mean, who would stick around? Sam shook his head as the door opened and Ryan stepped in. What floor? He asked Rain. 3rd. She pressed the button. Oh yeah, he's here. Sam didn't have to tell him. Ryan could feel it as they made their way down the hall. Holy shit. Please tell me you guys are seeing this. Seeing what? Rain saw nothing, though she was rather thankful. She did, however, feel the tension, a sickening sort of silence that made her realize the creature was present. That door is fucking breathing. Pointing down the hall, Sam motioned toward a room which just so happened to have been Rain's. From his perspective, it was giving off fumes of black energy, its entire surface rippled with grimdark, unviable to the naked eye. I can't do this, man. Fuck this shit. Sam threw up his hands while Ryan approached. This is the room? He asked, though he already knew the answer. Yeah, Ryan nodded. That's it. Raising his blade, he hung back as they pushed it open and the air stiffened. Sure enough, Vance was there, or rather the creature he had become. Sitting casually at the foot of the bed, it had its head down, one arm against a knee, while the other braced itself across the mattress. Non-responsive, its breathing was steady, and for the time being, it actually looked to be asleep. What in the name of hell is that thing? Sam whispered, although Ryan only hissed at him to be quiet. Saying nothing, Rain approached the beast and brushed her face where the lines it had drawn were now fading. Resisting the urge to call his name, she remained unsure. However, as Sam finally built up the nerve to step inside, the seal of darkness that had been erected specifically to keep out people such as himself shattered, and the creature's eyes snapped open. Oops. Biting his lip, he tried to back out. Unfortunately, the door had already closed behind him, and a gust of wind rushed forward, blowing both of the others into the wall. Rising to its feet, Chaos ignored them and instead glared at Sam. Oh shit, he whimpered as it began to advance. I don't know, dude. Look, I was shanghaied into this one. Blame them, okay? I'm not even supposed to be here. What? No, I didn't. I don't even know who he is. Who are you? Sam's eyes shot toward Ryan, who was currently giving him a strange look. Oh, shit. You're not actually talking, are you? Oh, fuck my life. Turning away from him, he slid to the floor, and the creature's eyes fell on Rain. Ooh, he doesn't like you, Sam grimaced, apparently able to understand something they weren't. What are you, his friend now? She snapped. No, but I can hear what he's thinking, and you probably don't want me to repeat it. Chaos suddenly opened its claws, and a ball of dark energy began to manifest within them while Rain flung her own like a whip. Catching it instead, it wrapped it around its arm and tugged her forward as it launched the darkness toward Ryan. The impact blew a hole in the wall about 13 feet wide, and if she hadn't dug her heels into the carpet, Rain probably would have gone flying. Releasing her energy, she threw her pocket knife instead. As before, the creature wasn't fazed. The knife was removed and it tossed it aside before attempting to wrap its claws around her throat. Ryan saw this and lunged, although this time it was ready for him. Flinging him through the wall, binds of darkness burst from the floor and ensnared him to the spot. Sam witnessed the entire thing in silence while the beast began to lift the poor girl with one hand. Bringing her to eye level, it tightened its grip. However, as it leaned in to essentially end her, something caught its eye and it stopped. Immediately, its attention was on Sam again. Looking back at Rain, it hissed and threw her to the ground as it turned towards him, slamming its claws into the doorframe. What? I didn't do nothing. I don't know. Ask the kid with the stick. Sam threw a glance in Ryan's direction, although before he could go any further, he began to nod. Get out or die. Okay, sounds like a plan. Sounds like a great plan. He gave the creature a nervous thumbs up and watched as it turned, spread its wing, and bolted from the room. Hitting her head on the carpet, Rain groaned. It was only when she saw it leave that she realized no one had died. What did he say? It was kind of muffled, but something along the lines of, if we leave now, he'll let us live? Sam was still in shock while Ryan was released and got to his feet. I can't believe it, he stammered, helping Rain to her own. You scared it. Say what? It was trying to intimidate you, but you scared it. I've never seen it run. Yeah, well, it was intimidating as all shit, dude. I did not sign on for this. It could have. No, he shook his head. It should have killed us. It should have killed you, he looked at Rain. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise you took a bite out of him. Might have just saved your life. At the cost of becoming a dark zombie. Shadows were already starting to form beneath her eyes. I can't believe you scared him, she stared at Sam. You just stood there. Can I go home now? No, Ryan said. It wants us to leave. We're not going anywhere. We have the upper hand here, and that's something we've never had before. We should wait until it gets dark. We? What we? Sam got to his feet. I don't know about you two, but I'm done. This is way too much, and time is not exactly on my side here. He looked down at his arm, which was now completely black, save for the tan-colored gauze strip that covered it. I don't know about her, he pointed at Rain, but I don't think I have till dark. I'll be fine, she lied, although she could feel it as well. We have to stop him. It doesn't matter if he let us go. Rain's right, but if we go after him now, we're not going to get anywhere. It's broad daylight and none of us can contend well in that to begin with. That's probably the reason it took off. We should stay here and wait until the sun sets. Who made you leader? Sam suddenly caught his side. Ugh, I don't feel so good. I think I'm gonna throw up. Am I gonna be like him? No, we'll figure something out. Ryan walked with Rain to the bathroom where Sam was now heaved over. Clinging to the toilet seat, he choked back a froth of black liquid and laid his head down with a moan as one of his antennae poked its way out and uncoiled along his back. He hadn't seemed to notice, nor did he care, that his hair was starting to go as black as Vanslin's. Bile ran up Rain's throat and she knelt beside him. Do you want some water? No, I just get sick again. What about that slab thing? Ryan stood aside so he could pass. That slab thing, Sam quoted with his fingers, or rather the ones he had left, is doing its job. You're not dead yet, are you? Walking to one of the beds, he took a seat and pulled off his hat, which no longer fit right anyway. What is that slab thing? Ryan asked as he mentioned it. Ugh, it's a tome. The markings on the rock are some kind of ancient text. All I know is I got shanghaied into finding it and screwed the fuck over. You listened to that thing to find a tome? Are you sure it didn't just want you to find it so it could kill you? Whoa, hold up, he shook his head. That thing had nothing to do with it. Drawing a deep breath, he decided to explain in a bit more detail. My dad forced me to go on this stupid summer trip for some extra credit. It was either that or repeat the 12th grade. I eventually just gave in. The place was messed up right from the beginning. Long story short, whatever this thing is, it's been there for thousands of years. Matt and I barely got away from it. We found this old cabin out in the woods. There was a guy holed up there who knew about this shit. He'd been part of it or something. This tome, he pulled out the silver slab, had something to do with that thing being imprisoned. There were other mechanisms in place, but some idiot decided it'd be a good idea to build a summer camp there and knock them down. According to legend, if you find the slab and read the inscription, you fulfill the prophecy and game over. Bye-bye Shadow. The trouble comes in when the son of a bitch runs you down at the last second and takes a bite out of your arm. Some guy in a cabin. Rain stared at him in disbelief. You trusted some hermit in the woods? Hey, he knew his stuff. Without him, I'd just have been dead quicker. So, what happens if someone else translates it? Anybody infected will die. I'm okay with that, but I'm not sure you would be. If this thing gets put to rest, I'll be okay. Rain was serious. We have to translate it then. Good luck. I lost the cloth with the inscription, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who reads ancient Latin. You know, this all sounds kind of morbid, Ryan admitted. There might be other ways. Look, pal, if there was another way, I would damn well know about it. Sam slipped the tome back into his pocket. Yes, well, you're confined to one realm. There might not be a way here, but I have other assets. I think we should wait until we can weigh in all of our options before resorting to such drastic measures. That might be all well and good for you, but while you're waiting around for your little answers, I'm getting closer to being the next episode of the X-Files. Right now we have to stop Vance, Rain decided. He's more important. Good luck with that. Ryan, what do? We need the archetype, he admitted. It's the only thing that can stop him. Whoa, buddy. If you expect me to go head-to-head with that? Sam shook his own. I don't even know how to use this shit, and the last 2 times that thing decided to make me its puppet, it was lights out. I got no memory of it. Zero, zip, nada. Not only that, but if you're asking me to control it, forget it. I already told you it didn't come with an instruction manual. He flicked aside of one of his antennae. Just the headgear. If it senses Vance may want to hurt you, do you think the Shadow will defend you? I don't know, maybe, but, I'm not sure you guys realize the seriousness of putting yourself at the mercy of this thing. No, I think we do. Ryan gave a nod, recalling back to what had happened at the hospital. Really? Well, then you must have the IQ of a cannoli, because if this thing decides it wants out, it's not going to discriminate. It'll kill all 3 of you, and probably infect the entire city, just so we're clear on that. Then what? Rain sat on the floor, head pounding. Then what? There is no then what. You don't have anything to worry about, it's already in you. Then again, that in of itself is pretty shitty, but hey, at least you won't have any form of consciousness after it finishes. Kinda takes the fun out of being all-powerful, you know? Shut up, she held her head in her hands. It's not gonna get to me. Yeah, sure it's not. It's not, Ryan cut in. After we defeat Vance, I'm gonna find my cousin. If anybody can help her, he can. Oh yeah, sure, defend her. What am I, chop meat? You can't be saved and you know it. I'm not infected anyway, so shut up, Rin demanded. Yeah? And those black veins on your lips are just for show, huh? Lovely attitude you got there, too. You know, that's the first thing to go. Stop talking, she snapped angrily. Why? Ryan pointed his blade at him. Because if you don't, you're gonna have another lump to deal with coming out of your head. As if you could hurt me. The both of us could. Go ahead, Rain. Sam spread his arms. Take your best shot. No, seriously, try. Watch what happens. Don't push me, you little bastard. I'll hit you harder than your dad ever did. Whoa, them's fighting words. Reaching into his pocket, he suddenly drew out the gun, which he had apparently picked back up off the hospital floor. Here, he tossed it at her with a plastic smile. Go ahead. Rain didn't even ask for permission. Catching it, she pulled the trigger and Sam hardly flinched. Sitting on the mattress, he watched her miss and arched a brow. Wow, you're a pathetic shot. Here, give it back. I'll show you something scary. Rain! Ryan went to take it from her instead. That's not funny. You're gonna hurt someone. No, she's not. Just give me back my gun. I'll show you. If you shoot me, Sam, I'll kill you. Nobody is gonna be shooting anybody. Ryan took it from her hand and slipped it into his pocket. Whatever, man. I'm gonna take a nap. You two kids can do what you want. Lying across the mattress, Sam pulled the covers over his head. We're not gonna be able to stop Vance, are we? Rain asked morbidly. Not before Sam and I become dark zombies. You won't. He might, but we're kind of relying on that. Don't worry, Rain. That thing has an aversion to light. If anybody can find a way to remove it, it's my cousin. He and light are like one and the same thing. Now come on, don't think about that anymore. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what's been going on? You said Vance was your responsibility. What's that about? Other than that amulet, which, as a matter of fact, he motioned for her to hand it to him again. Soren was going to kill him, she started to explain. I interfered. I told him I didn't want Vance to die because we're similar. He listened and bound us together, but it didn't work. I was responsible for feeding him, and I failed. No, Ryan shook his head. You didn't fail. That kind of responsibility should not have been placed on you. I don't know what goes through his head sometimes. When it comes to Vancelin, there are no lines of discretion. He doesn't take kindly to captivity, and as far as the whole soul-eating thing goes, that really isn't anybody's fault as much as I would love to crucify him for it. It's not your fault either, Rain. Soren should have known better. I insisted, she was adamant. It was stupid. Look, if he thought Satan had noble intentions, Soren would try and reason with him, okay? Great guy, but not much in the lines of common sense. He's only 14. You can't expect a child to understand the dynamics of that kind of thing. Trust me, I yield from a darker perspective. I know why you might have looked at Vancelin and seen a victim instead of an abuser. I have a bias towards him because of something he did to my family, but if I remove myself from the equation, I can see how someone could come to sympathize. Unfortunately, he's incapable of returning those emotions, and even if he wasn't, could you imagine, a soul eater with feelings? How would something like that survive? He started to date a girl he genuinely cared about. He even stopped eating because of her. Besides, I have feelings, and I have to kill to eat. Ryan was about to question her on Liz when he realized his mistake. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You might have to kill to live, but no more than your share and not for fun or in rapid succession. I'm not an expert on vampires. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you only take what you need to survive, right? And you can get blood from other sources, can you not? With mud-colored eyes, Rain nodded. That's right. Even at a school that encouraged homicide, they were never taught to massacre humans. Look at it like this. If a coyote felt compassion for the rabbits it ate, it would starve. In the natural world, things work according to a balance. You can sometimes get people who challenge that, but nature doesn't make those kinds of major mistakes. That would be horribly cruel, even for someone as monstrous as Vance. He sympathized pretty well with that girl, Ryan. He was starving himself for her. I know it sounds far-fetched, but it was legitimate. They were inseparable until she found out the truth. Soren knew. He talked to her. Ryan looked unhinged, although he kept his speculations to himself. Are you certain he wasn't just using her? Vance can be pretty manipulative when he wants to be. We thought so too, but it was true. He was hurt when she rejected him. He misses her. That's unsettling. Why do you say that? Several reasons, though the only one that's important is why. After this whole thing started about a year ago, he took the time to choose his words carefully. Things have been different. Not just for us, but for him as well. His behavior used to be predictable, but now? Do you know what drove him to merge with that thing? Rain rubbed the back of her neck. I told him he was a monster. The regret in her eyes was obvious, as much as she didn't want to admit it. I shouldn't have been so harsh. That was it? He found it hard to believe. It's been building up, she clarified. We fought all the time. He's oil, I'm water. I guess that can happen when you put two people with similar backgrounds together. If it's any consolation, I don't think you're anything like him. Vance is a monster. It's as simple as that. You've seen the things he's done. Ryan gave a nod toward the window, which was still shadowed over the balcony. He has issues with anyone who gets in the way of furthering his interests, which are namely eat and cause chaos. That's all he does. He can't be taught differently? I don't know. Maybe Soren thought so. Maybe that's why he did this. Judging from the results, he shook his head. I don't think so. If he can't be taught, then neither can I. Whoa, hey, hold on a second. Ryan pressed a warm hand to her shoulder. You need to stop comparing yourself. You're not Vancelin. You've already proven that in showing him compassion and choosing to help us stop him. I'm not good with this sentimental stuff, but I know the difference between darkness and evil. You're not evil. Lost, perhaps, but not evil. Raising a hand, he spread his fingers and a current of dark energy began to weave through them. Even in darkness, he said as the energy shifted, transforming from black to a brilliant red flame, there's always light. It just may not come in the form you'd expect. I can't do that, she said quietly. You don't have to. Vanishing, the fire ceased and he went to take her shoulder once more. True strength doesn't come from parlor tricks or fancy magic. It comes from knowing the difference between right and wrong and standing up for what you believe in no matter what the cost. Being a good person isn't about darkness or light, Rain. It's about being true to yourself, being who you are and not what other people want you to be. Our worlds are subjective. There is no true good or evil. What's right for one person might not be so for someone else. It's what you choose to believe that will eventually come to define you. If you hold true to those beliefs, then it doesn't matter where you yield from. You can't have one piece without the other. Look at him. He motioned towards Sam, who was currently sound asleep. He's possessed by something that is probably as evil as it comes, and yet he's helping us. That thing attacked us even when he had the stone, he reminded her. Notice that only after I explained our intentions, we haven't had a problem with it since. Everything has a balance. When that balance is disrupted, it can bring about the worst and the best in everything. Listening attentively, Rain ran her fingers through her hair. You're right, she agreed. Give me the amulet. This is no longer your responsibility. No, Ryan, I'm not passing it on to you. No way. I can handle it, please. No, Rain, you can't. This responsibility was mine. It always has been. That son of a bitch killed my father because of something I did. I made a bad mistake, and a lot of people got hurt. I didn't come all this way to watch someone else suffer for something that can very easily be stopped. I know how to handle this better than you do. If it means something to you, I'll give it back, after I remove what Soren did to it. Ryan, don't, she pleaded. You're a normal guy. He's gonna weigh you down. Normal? Ha! He shook his head and chuckled. I'm flattered, but normal is what I used to be. Soren's my cousin, and if you know him, then I assume you know what he's capable of. Why do you think I'd be any different? I can handle Vancelin, and I mean to, quite harshly, I might add. You have a lot more burdens, she insisted, however began to unclasp the necklace. Not as many as you'd think. Relax, Rain. I knew what I was getting myself into when I took this job. Probably the only one of the three of us who did. You're brave, she said as she held it out. So are you. The responsibilities you tried to take on are admirable. I'm not admirable. Hey, he went to lift her chin. That's too bad, because I say you are, and you better damn well believe it. Thank you. You're welcome. Now come on, it's getting late. Rising to his feet, he threw a glance out the window. We need to finish this. Do you want to wake up Sunshine? Summoning his blade, Ryan went to poke Sam, who rolled over with a groan and pulled the pillow off his head. What? Wake up, we've got to go. Aw, man, 5 more minutes, I feel like shit. We all feel like shit, Rain countered. We need to get rid of Vance, now. By we, you mean me. Sitting up, Sam ran a hand along the side of his face, which now exhibited a fair amount of black veins. Opening his eyes, he stared groggily around the room. While one remained its original blue, the other was now a reptilian gold. To make matters worse, the left side of his jaw had been replaced by needle-point teeth that would have given even Vance a run for his money. Actually drawing back, Ryan suppressed a gasp and Sam furrowed a brow. Oh great, the look. Do I want to know? With a frozen expression, Rain's eyes flared to copper. No, she shook her head. Didn't think so. As he went to get up, his antenna now reached the small of his back and a long black tail trailed behind him. Oh, that's fucking wonderful, he muttered before noticing their expressions. We'll take a fucking picture! I'm gonna become a velociraptor? Rain covered her eyes. Keep talking, honey. You're next. Enough, Ryan snapped. Nobody's next. We're leaving. Now. Well, yeah, easy for you to say. How the fuck am I supposed to explain this, huh? Just accept it and let's go. Nobody's gonna care, much less question you. Grabbing her bag, Rain pulled out another gun. It was a small revolver, and while it wouldn't put a dent in the creature, she felt safer with it on. If she ever made it out of this mess, she promised herself to find a sword. Rolling his eyes, Sam grabbed his hat off the bed and reluctantly followed them to the elevator. So where to now, genius? Same as before. We trace it. Yeah? And then what? We end it. Do you have a trace on him? Rain asked. Now that I know what we're looking for, Ryan nodded as the doors opened and spit them back into the lobby. The edge of the city, about a half a mile into the desert. That's where I'm picking up the strongest reading. What are you? Sam scoffed. A fucking demon detector? No, but if what I think is going on here really is, then it should lead us right to him. Offering no further explanation, he hurried through the door. The desert? Rain looked ill at ease. How will we walk through the desert? She had never been exposed to one, although her mentor had told her about the sand and what often lurked beneath it. It's getting dark. The desert's a cold place at night, and he's not far. It shouldn't take long. Sure enough, about half a mile off in the rapidly cooling Nevada sands, Vancelin, or what had become of him, was perched atop a large rock formation. Sitting casually across its edge, his attention was turned toward the sky, which was fading fast, taking the last remaining light along with it.